More clouds mixed in with the sunshine today and some rainfall in the forecast too as a cold front makes its way from northwest to southeast into the area. The forecast for this afternoon, partly cloudy skies, some scattered afternoon thunder showers around, highs in the mid-80s. Then for tonight, scattered showers and thunderstorms still possible, lows about 60 to 65 degrees. Tomorrow, periods of light rain ending late in the morning and increasing sunshine after that. We'll see highs reaching 75 to 80 degrees. At the Weather Center, I'm Mike Moss.
Thanks, Mike. Right now it's 84 degrees as we join the Rush Limbaugh Show right after this.
Hi, is this Mimo's?
He wants to know if this is a Mimo's.
This is a Mimo's Italian restaurant.
Now, what you want? You like a pizza?
You like a pizza? Well,
You like a veal?
chicken or seafood?
Well, it all looks great, but I was just here to see Mrs. Mimo.
Oh, you want to talk to Mrs. Mimo?
Mama Mimo!
It's what you've been waiting for. Authentic Italian food at Mimo's Italian Restaurant, 2215 East Ash Street, Goldsboro. Open today.
Performing my job with flawless broadcast excellence, this is Rush Limbaugh on WGBR. Expressed by the host on the show are sweeping America. Ladies and gentlemen, liberals are in shock as millions of Americans report testing positive for EIB. The battle cry around the country is, yeah, it's all starting to make sense.
This is a special edition of the Rush Limbaugh program, America Held Hostage. And now, from our studios in New York City, here is Rush Limbaugh.
We're up to day 126 of the raw deal, the Clinton presidency. America continues to be held in the clutches of the latest Democratic liberal administration. Our telephone number here is 1-800-282-2882. Let's start with a little economic news, ladies and gentlemen. General Mills owns Red Lobster restaurants. They are planning on closing 31 Red Lobster restaurants around the nation and in Canada. An average cost of about 20 people, employees each. Over 600 jobs will be lost because of Red Lobster's decision, General Mills' decision. Do you know what the decision is based upon? Anybody like to take a wild guess out there why a company might be closing up shop, reducing its size, and laying off workers, firing people? Anybody have a wild guess out there? Could it have anything to do with the administration's economic plan? Or would it be cynical to suggest such a thing? Would it be partisan to suggest such a thing? Well, let me read to you the quote from one of the executives announcing the decision at General Mills. Quote, "We are expecting substantial losses due to higher taxes and higher healthcare costs, and we feel that by closing these restaurants, we will cut some of those losses," unquote. Well, here you have another greedy and selfish business refusing to sit still and get screwed by this administration. Doesn't everybody know that it is time for those who did well in the 80s to get punished for it? You are supposed to sit still for your higher taxes. You're supposed to sit still for your increased health care costs. This is called getting even. This is called leveling the playing field. It's also called an economic slowdown in the making. Have you also noticed how the administration is handling its two most recent controversies, Air Force One and the real scandal? I mean, the real scandal that is going on is this whole thing that has happened with the White House Travel Office. Have you been made aware, probably not, if you have not, I'll do so myself, of the president's response to this? In both instances, let's go back to character. Character matters. Who told you? Often, day in and day out during the campaign, it was moi. The president, in effect, is saying, the buck never got here. He is saying that he was told that to sit on the tarmac at LAX would not cause a problem. We are only to conclude then that his ignorance is profound of the way the air traffic control system works in the United States. He also says that he had nothing to do with any decision involving the White House Travel Office except to save the taxpayers and the press money. The only thing I know is we made a decision to save the taxpayers and press money. That's all I know. Man, run away from everything. Blame somebody else. It's never his fault. He's never involved. He never knows what's going on. This from the guy who was going to go in and change everything. This from the guy who was the most hands-on president that we've had since Jimmy Carter. Now, I'll tell you about this business with the White House Travel Office. Let me tell you what the scandal here is, and I alluded to this yesterday in the midst of the basking in the glow of bake sales and the discussions thereof. The problem here is that Bill Clinton or somebody in this administration needed to fire whoever was running the White House Travel Office and everybody who worked there. They wanted to get rid of him. And the reason they wanted to get rid of him is pure patronage. Not change, but the same old, same old. You know an analogy can be drawn? You know how liberals look at government? You know how certain liberal groups look at government? They look at it as simply a chance to steal from the public. And they're sick and tired. The Republicans have had their chance, and these groups have had their chance. So now these minority groups and the liberals, we want our chance. Give us our chance at the community chest. And so they're in there now, and it's our turn to dip our hands in the cookie jar, pull some stuff. That's what it must mean to these people. So they need to get rid of these travel people so that the procedures under which the travel office operates can change. Back in February, here comes a memo from Harry Thomason, who, as we have learned today, has a VIP White House pass and his own office in the White House. He can come and go anytime he wishes. Which is fine, don't misunderstand, but for these people to say, hey, I don't have any influence there, hey, I didn't do anything, hey, I'm not, we're just, it's the appearance of impropriety. So a call was made to the Justice Department. We don't know who. I want to tell you something else. Remember when Mac McClarty was first introduced to the nation? Normally, when you name the chief of staff of the White House, it's one of the first things you do, and the person who's named the chief of staff is paid a lot of attention, gets a lot of publicity. This guy was hardly heard from until it came time to start this notion that the White House staff had been reduced, which is also not true. So McClarty comes out. We introduced him, and I said, this guy thinks it's tough now. Wait till he has to start the cover-ups. Wait till this, remember what I said? I said it both on this show and I said it on TV. I said, wait till this guy has to start dealing with a cover-up. Well, here's the first cover-up. And this is a big one. I mean, even the Attorney General, Janet Reno, she's mad because her department now has been politicized, and she doesn't want it to be, by the books anyway. So here's the story. Somebody in the White House calls the Justice Department. Says, we need some help over here. We need a finding that there's some improprieties going on in his travel office so we can make a move. Justice Department came over because there are a lot of people in the Justice Department want to hold on to their jobs, like the FBI director. I'm not suggesting it. Hey, look, something happened. Somebody made a phone call, and it shouldn't have been made, and somebody acted on the phone call, and the action shouldn't have been taken, and it was. And as a result, 7 people have been smeared. They have been accused in the press of embezzling or by the White House. And now Clinton in running from this. At least Jimmy Carter took on that killer rabbit. Clinton runs from all these things. Remember that? Carter's out there canoeing somewhere in the swamps of Georgia contemplating Martin Luther King Day. And here comes a killer rabbit. And he beats it back with his oar. And he proudly tells him, I beat back that killer rabbit. And they said, what the hell's a killer rabbit? We never heard of a killer rabbit. Is it a new species been created in the jungles of Georgia? And of course it became a laughing stock. Our president beat back a killer rabbit that was going to eat his boat. Well, our president, my friends, doesn't even take on the killer rabbit. I mean, it is turn tail and run. And this guy has a pattern of it, and brazenly so. I had nothing to do with any decision except to save the taxpayers. He compounds it. In the first place, he says, I have nothing to do with this except saving taxpayers' money. Saving the taxpayers' money. He's now justifying getting rid of these people in the White House press office, or travel office. I tell you, I'm amazed. Now watch this. Now, I want to see how this happens. This is the kind of thing, if it were a Republican administrator, there would be a special prosecutor called. There would be congressional hearings. People would be looking into this because, you know, this is direct influence. This is allowing your friends to take over second cousins, friends running travel agencies, profit, and so many things that are so typical of President Clinton show themselves here. Same thing with the haircut, same thing with the airplane. Well, I didn't know. I didn't know that that's what was going on. Buck never got here. Well, we've got a lot to talk about today, plus your phone calls as well. Let's take a break, and we'll be back. Our phone number again, 1-800-282-2882. Don't go away.
You're listening to the EIB Network.
Okay, folks, Father's Day is coming up real soon, and you know I've got the perfect gift idea. Why don't you get your dad a copy of, or a subscription actually, to my monthly newsletter, the Limbaugh Letter? You know how many dads would probably love to have one of these subscriptions? Look at what happened in the pursuit of one subscription. Thousands of people showed up in Fort Collins, Colorado. You don't have to go to Fort Collins, Colorado to get a subscription to Limbaugh Letter. All you have to do is make a phone call. 800-457-4141. You get 1 year, 12 issues, only $29.95. And there's an added bonus. If you order now, your subscription will include Lies, which is a report exposing the daily falsehoods of the Clinton administration, and it's free. It's thrown in free. It took us about 5 minutes to put together. That's all. Call now, 800-457-4141 for the Limbaugh Letter. Get in on it.
Now, honestly, somewhere between the evening news and your favorite reruns, you've got some spare time, right? Well, if you'll spend some of that time with a National Dynamics language program, we'll have you speaking and understanding Spanish, French, Italian, German, or Japanese in 30 days. No books, no classes. Just our audio tapes in your home, car, or portable cassette player. Call this number today, 1-800-545-1985. That's 1-800-545-1985. Now, really, how many reruns can you watch?
Here's news on where to get the best price on furniture for office, church, or meeting place. State Office Equipment Company on East Ash Street in Goldsboro. Tables or chairs for church, club, or meeting place, you get the best price at State Office Equipment Company. Desks, file cabinets, bookcases, wastebaskets, whatever you need for your office, you'll get the best price at State Office Equipment Company. And if you don't have time to visit the store, call 731-3000 and a representative will come to you. That's 731-3000. Now, we haven't mentioned styles and functional ability of your office furniture. At State Office Equipment Company, it's good looks and quality. Look, your office furniture tells a lot about your business. So why not call 731-3000 right now for your best price or visit State Office Equipment Company at 2211 East Ash Street. You'll get your best price at State Office Equipment Company.
This week at the Pork King, Nahana Pork Center, you'll find great savings on quality pork products like fully cooked smoked picnic, 69 cents a pound. Smoked slab side meat, 99 cents a pound, sliced free. Smoked boneless cooked hams, $1.59 a pound. And country cured ham hocks, buy one bag, get one free. And don't forget to order your barbecue pig for your Memorial Day gathering from the Pork King, Nahana Pork Center, Highway 581, 1 mile west of Nahana School.
The Sign Source. John Cox of the Sign Source in Berkeley Junction has all kinds of signs.
Special events.
John Cox can make you a sign just for your own business.
A business sign.
And he also has open house signs, welcome home signs.
For sale.
Yes, and boy or girl signs, and there's a lot more.
The Sign Source.
How about a sign for an anniversary sale? Or special signs, any signs for the inside or out of your business, custom made just for you. Call the Sign Source, 778-1717, or drop by the Sign Source, Berkeley Junction, Berkeley Boulevard, Goldsboro.
The Sign Source. We're the talk of the town, 1150 WGBR.
The Doctor of Democracy. This is Rush Limbaugh from the Limbaugh Institute for Advanced Conservative Studies. As another day of broadcast excellence is straight ahead. I go to Chicago. Lenny, glad you called and welcome to the Rush Limbaugh program.
Thanks.
You bet.
How you doing?
I'm fine.
I just want to make a comment about the Red Lobster deal.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it gets a little tiring of everyone going out of business, blaming it on, the president. I'm going out of business, it's because of the president. Most of the time, if you have a good product that sells well and you service it well, then you stay in business. If you have a product that is maybe, perhaps, not that. Have you ever eaten at Red Lobster?
I have. Yes, I've eaten at Red Lobster, and I have enjoyed it when I've eaten at Red Lobster. Maybe you haven't. If you want to go ahead and trash them, fine. Go to Denny's.
No, I'm not going to. Denny's, oof, okay. No, I'm not here to trash him. I'm just saying, why does everyone always have to blame the president? How about taking a little responsibility on yourself?
Let me tell you something. Look at the one thing I'll agree with you about. I think it's going to be very easy for businesses to use this as an excuse, and each case is going to have to be examined individually for the truth. I don't deny that, but I tell you, I think this is far more likely to happen, and I think that it represents an accurate picture, shows us an accurate picture of how business fears and feels. Now, look, there's a reason why. I did a thing last week. A guy in San Francisco wrote a piece in the Sacramento Bee talking about how all the overtime being worked in this country is a sign of corporate evil. It's about how corporations, they don't want to hire any new people. All they're doing is making their existing staff work harder because they're slave drivers and so forth. The truth of the matter is that until this economic plan gets decided, businesses can't calculate the cost of doing business. And if they do try, they've got to figure it's going to cost them a lot more. And it's just it makes no sense. This is what liberals don't understand. You devise a plan where you're going to raise everybody's taxes and you're going to cause business to pay this much more on everybody's health care, and then people expect that businesses or the targets of these plans just going to sit there and allow themselves to be punished. And it doesn't work that way. If you can avoid it, you do. And I think Red Lobster, General Mills, is simply saying, heck, we don't want to deal with this. We don't.
Yeah, we don't want to give people a health plan.
That's not what businesses. No.
We don't have the money to do that. Sorry.
That's right. They probably don't, Lenny. It's probably a fact of life for many that why should businesses?
So basically, workers shouldn't put the
don't
question
say workers.
forth.
It's a communal
They should not
word.
put the question forth to businesses saying, you know what, I work for you, I work hard for you, I think that I should get some benefits.
Who says that?
I mean, well, why shouldn't? So you're saying, that the business people look so horrible that Clinton thinks, they're just going to accept it, and and of course, maybe they shouldn't. There'll be a fight. Okay, but the workers are also saying, you know what? We have some demands as well, and of course, business is going to come back and say, well, you know what? We can't quite meet your demands, but that's where it starts. That's to start somewhere. People who work for a living have got to say, look, I deserve more than a gold watch after 50 years. I deserve to have my kids get medical benefits.
No, you don't. Whoa, hold on. When you say you deserve it, what you're saying is you have the right to obligate somebody else to pay for it for you. That's what you're saying, and that right doesn't exist.
Well, that right may not.
And if you want a company to be able to pay,
people supposed to pay for it.
Well, first thing we do is we got to cut the costs, and we do that by reinstituting this thing called competition into the healthcare system, and we stop having insurance premiums paying for the whole thing. We got to have it so people see what it costs. It's priced so that they can in such a way as any other business is, that if a company outprices it, that people can't afford it, therefore don't buy it, they go out of business. That's not what happens in healthcare. What happens in healthcare is somebody pays it, and it's the government.
That's a wonderful, a wonderful dream, but the reality of the situation is that the medical community in the United States is an extremely powerful community and extremely powerful lobbyists in Washington, don't you think?
There are a lot of... Sure, there are a lot of... But look, this whole notion here, Randy, or I'm sorry, Lenny. There's this whole notion that people are, A, ought to be punished, and then B, those people who've been targeted for punishment are just going to sit around and let themselves be punished or accept it, is a misnomer. You're going to have a much better chance of having employees covered with benefits and all that if you have a climate where their employers have businesses which are growing. And that's not going to happen with this plan, and that's the bottom line. Businesses look at this and say, our growth is going to be slow, if at all. It's going to be stunted. We are not going to have the resources to hire more people because look at what it's going to cost us to hire more people because of what this plan is going to be. And I think the president could really reverse his standing with the people and with business and in the polls if he would do a 180 and start talking about rewarding people who take risks and applauding those who do so and getting rid of some of the obstacles in the way of companies who want to expand and grow rather than target them for punishment. This is, George Will had it exactly right in his column Sunday in the Washington Post. This is not about doing what's right economically. This is about the total power grab that this administration can get for itself and its party politically. It's really a sad thing. Look at consumer confidence. Consumer confidence is plummeting. If the consumer confidence is plummeting, they're not going to spend any money. Businesses are not going to sell as many products. They're not going to have as much to sell, therefore they're not going to need as many people to produce whatever it is they sell, be it lobster or widgets. It's called trickle up. It's called drip down. It's whatever economics. I mean, it's bad news.
You think consumers are feeling better today than they were a year ago when George Bush was in office?
No.
No, they're not feeling better.
No,
they
were 3 months ago. They were 4 months ago. They might have even been a month ago. But they've had now a steady diet day after day after day. They wake up and they listen to this administration's latest plan to fix what they say is wrong, and it's a tax increase. Every day it's a new tax. They float a new... I mean, the people are in shock. The people are literally in shock over all these taxes for health care. You can't keep up with what this administration is planning. And this administration is very clever. They're throwing out all these numbers every day so that when they finally decide on something, they'll be able to say, hey, we told you all along, just like that guy showing up on Brinkley. Hey, you people should have known your taxes were going to be raised. It's been part of the plan from day one.
That's right, but at least Clinton said our taxes are going to be raised. George Bush goes, I'm not going to raise your taxes. I mean, to go into a presidency and say you're not going to raise taxes, people are stupid to believe that. They were stupid to believe George Bush. I mean, come on.
I don't believe what I'm hearing.
Bill
Clinton, one of the centerpieces of his pitch to the people was a middle-class tax cut. The only people going to pay more in taxes were people earning $200,000 or more. And now look, it's down to about 20,000. I think.
Well, I didn't believe it when I heard it either. I mean, I know that the reality of the situation is when you're on the campaign trail and then you have to get into that office and deal with thousands of other people who all of a sudden come, okay, now you're in office. Now you're going to have to deal with us.
Oh, man.
I mean, the reality of the situation is you think you can do wonderful things. But, I mean, we're in the position we're in now, not because of 5 months of a Democratic administration, but because of 12 years of Republican administration.
Oh, no. Lindy, do you really believe that? Are you just trying to provoke the host?
Of course. Well, how can you blame our economic situation on 5 months of administration?
I'm not. I blame it on the last 2 years of the Bush administration, since the 1990 budget deal and a recession that was already going on when they instituted that budget deal. And the normal cyclical recession that was going to happen. What is the last 12 years?
The unbelievable deficit that Reagan and Bush put us in.
I didn't. Hey, look, deficit spending, according to this guy, is what you need to stimulate the economy. He wanted to add to it by $16 billion. Reagan ought to be your hero.
Reagan, my hero?
Yeah, I mean, if you... Hey, don't
he thinks
watch
he's
the
in the
tongue.
movies.
Watch the tongue. We only doubled revenues. We only created 23 million new jobs. We only lowered tax rates. We only created all kinds of prosperity. Why in the world do people wish to deny what was? There can be only one reason for the denial, and that would be liberals who see, oh my gosh, it worked. We're out of business if people buy this. And so with their willing accomplices in the media, a rewrite of history has begun. We're in bad trouble because of the last 2 years, not because of the previous 8.
Hi, my name is Kayleen. I'm 5 years old. Last summer, my mom gave me Hooked on Phonics, and I learned to read. It was fun. When I started kindergarten, I was the best reader in my class. This summer, you should try Hooked on Phonics. Maybe you can learn to read like me.
Call 1-800-ABCDEFG.
This is WGBR News, Goldsboro's very own.
Good afternoon. At 12:30, it's 84 degrees. I'm Dory Roberts. The recommended budget of the Goldsboro Rescue Squad was increased from $5,000 to $7,500 last night by the Goldsboro City Council. The council said the budget from the city to the rescue squad will be cut $2,500 a year in the future until the city phases out that budget. But after completely phasing that out, the city will continue to provide the rescue squad insurance worth $7,000 annually, plus water and sewer free of charges, just as it's done over the years and continues to do. The council indicated some time ago it requires less service from the Goldsboro Rescue Squad because the city has 2 full-time units of its own in operation. The need for crisis homes with the placement of developmentally disabled children was cited last night in the second of 3 public hearings being conducted by the Wayne Area Mental Health Board. The speaker said the population at O'Berry Center is getting older, and the center may eventually become an institution of older persons. It was suggested children need to be placed with their peers, and that O'Berry Center would not be an appropriate setting in the event the population there is older. The hearings are being held to receive public suggestions for improving mental health services 1994 through the year 2000. Speakers at last night's hearing also said the public should be educated as to what developmental disabilities are and the services available. They also recommended increasing the amount of interaction between the private and public sector in providing these kind of services. Andy Anderson thinks Wayne County Republicans scored a first in behalf of the county at the State Republican Convention held in Asheville by setting up a hospitality room in the hotel.
To my knowledge, that's the first time a county has ever done that. And we had a lot of people came in to visit us, a tremendous number, and they were saying, well, where is Wayne County, and what's this about Wayne County? Why has Wayne County got a room? And I said, because Wayne County is a new, moving on county, and we just want to let everybody know that. And so we had them come in, and we just told them where we were and who we were, and had a great time. But it got the attention that Wayne County is a up-and-coming county.
Andy Anderson. And Memorial Day weekend is coming up. The Carolina Motor Club says travel this weekend is expected to be the heaviest in at least 9 years. A 4% increase is expected in the number of people who vacation 100 miles or more from home. 86% of the holiday travelers will go by car, an increase of 3% over last year. The increasing holiday travel luckily doesn't carry a price increase in gasoline prices for North Carolina motorists. In fact, the average price for self-service regular unleaded gas in this state is 5.5 cents per gallon less than the national average and 1.5 cents less than Memorial Day last year. Time for our forecast from the Weather Center.
Well, a cold front now over West Virginia will sweep southeast into the region during the next 24 hours or so, bringing some unsettled weather along with it. The forecast for this afternoon, partly cloudy skies, some scattered afternoon thunder showers around, highs in the mid-80s. Then tonight, scattered rain showers and thunderstorms continue overnight, the low 60 to 65 degrees. For tomorrow, we'll see some periods of light rain ending late in the morning, then increasing sunshine late in the afternoon, the high 75 to 80. I'm Mike Moss at the Weather Center.
Thanks, Mike. Right now it's 84 degrees as we return to the Rush Limbaugh Show on WGBR.
Consumer confidence numbers as released by the Conference Board. Consumer confidence is now at its lowest level since October. Consumers less optimistic about economic expectations than they were a month ago. Consumer confidence index fell to 61.5 in May. It was at 78 in December. It's plummeted, and interest rates are in a bit of a downward direction as well. I don't know if the data I have here, I don't know if the consumer confidence level is lower than Bush's. All I know is it's lower. It's at lowest level since last October, and last October would have to be Bush's. I mean, it was still a Bush administration back then. Well, it's an amazing thing when you look at what was supposed to happen. That's why you can't predict politics. I mean, this wasn't supposed to happen. We were not supposed to have gridlock. Whatever this guy wanted was supposed to just steamroller right through. And I want to ask you conservatives out there, because I know there are a number of you out there, and some of you are my good friends. You sat there and you said, hey, the Republicans are making a big mistake by opposing this guy. Let him get his program. Otherwise, if you hold it up, you're the Republican. You're going to get blamed for standing in the way of economic progress. Now, we've got consumer confidence at a pretty low ebb here. And the last time I looked, Bill Clinton's approval ratings were low. I mean, he's got a higher disapproval than he does in approval. It's 48 to 46. Now, who do you think's being blamed? It doesn't seem to me it's the Republicans. I would like to point out that I steadfastly maintain that the Republicans should, because of ethics, because of a sense of concern about the people who make this country work, that they should do what they can to stop this thing and propose alternatives, which they've done, which this president continues to deny exist. But there are specific alternative plans out there to his, and he simply denies their existence. Well, they just asked for specifics, and I haven't seen it. It's brazen what this guy does. I must tell you, I'm continually amazed. I keep thinking one of these days this stuff is going to catch up with him, and it is going to stop it, but it hasn't happened yet. I'm wondering where the president's net is, safety net. By this, I mean the presidency is a tough gig. Witness this show. You got everybody coming at you. I mean, you've everybody, and it's not just this show now. It was this show. It was only this show for the longest time. But now look, who do you think has led the movement to just be skeptical about what this presidency and administration is all about? I have constantly urged liberal newscasters out there, liberal members of the press, you can't be the first to see what Clinton really is, but for heaven's sakes, don't be the last. You got to get on board this train sometime. I have steadfastly and unwaveringly been one who has been critical, but now everybody is. And normally when you're under fire, be it for whatever reason, most people have a safety net. It is their home, their friends, their good friends, the people they've known long before whatever trouble they're in began. I wonder, what is Bill Clinton's safety net? Where is he at home? I mean, the little lady at home is a safety net and a foundation for many, but I frankly don't know that Mrs. Clinton fills that bill, if you get my drift. I don't know if she, I don't understand, I'm not quite sure if she, so, and I'm not talking about barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen. I'm talking about support. I don't know, you go home, generally it's your wife or your spouse or somebody, you live in, depending on what era you're from, your spousal equivalent, that you can decompress with and pour it all out. I don't know who those people are. I'm sure they must be there, but where are they? And you need that, unless you just have the total ability to abandon reality. Now let's update you on the status of the tax bill. And that's what this is. I'm going to stick. This is not an economic plan. This is a tax bill. Note what everybody's talking about in this bill. It's the energy tax, the BTU tax. They're not talking about anything else in it. They're talking about the tax provisions. Now, what has been fascinating to watch is the breakdown of the Democratic Party in this. And I want to say again to my conservative Republican friends who suggested that it was unwise for Republicans in the House and Senate to oppose any part of the president's plan. The theory was, hey, let it happen. And then when it happens, you can blame him. But if it doesn't happen, they can blame Republicans, and the Republicans can be blamed again for holding up economic progress. You know why I was so confidently firm in my refusal to go along with that? Because I know this plan doesn't work. There's no way it's going to work. So you can't blame somebody for stopping it from working. And if it doesn't work, it's a good thing. And it's easy to make the case that it's a good thing that the plan doesn't work. All you got to do is tell the people who make the country work, you didn't get hurt as much as you were going to get hurt. So, who is it that's being blamed for holding this up? Who is it the president has to go see on Capitol Hill? Not just Democrats, moderate Democrats. He's a new Democrat, we all were told. He's having to go see the guys who are what he is and convince them to go along with it. He's not going to see Republicans. Well, he is, but they're not the primary obstacle here. It is moderate Democrats causing him trouble. In the House of Representatives, the president's tax bill is now seriously in question. Whereas only Sunday morning, if you listen to Daniel Patrick Moynihan on the Sunday morning shows, hey, Bourne's got a promise, he's got a pledge, he's going to vote for our bill. George Wilson, the fix is in, Senator Bourne? You're just doing this for public posturing when, in fact, when it comes to the floor vote in the Senate, you're going to go for it anyway, despite what you said? No, I'm not. I'm going to wait. I'm not going to vote for this BTU tax. Bourne did say he'd vote for taxes on the wealthy, but he's not totally conservative. Don't misunderstand. I didn't want to create the impression last Friday I think Bourne is altogether one of us, but he's clearly opposing the president in a key area or two. So, if the Senate, if there's some question that the Senate will not go for a part of or all of the package, then Democrats in the House are saying, hey, why should I put my vote on the record if it's going to go down the tubes? I don't want to be known as a tax increaser. I don't mind being known as a man loyal to my president, but I don't want to be known as a tax increaser. Because, see, if the Senate doesn't vote for this thing, and it's tight, it always has been tight, then that's causing questions in the House. So you got Tom Foley saying, it doesn't matter. The House is going to get what we want them to do. House is this or that, and that just means that these questionable votes are being called into the Speaker's office, and they're being told, you like it here? That's what's going on. But who would have thought it? I think it's so marvelous. I thought it. I told you. Time and time again, his biggest enemy, his biggest problem is going to be Congress. Yesterday, ladies and gentlemen, I read excerpts from a column that I thought was written by William Raspberry. It was all about how the president was trying to co-opt power. All this was, I mean, it was right. I was things I just believe and have said, written in a different way. And I said, whoa, William Raspberry writing this stuff. Hey. And so I praised Mr. Raspberry, and I apologized in advance for praising him because I know what kind of trouble he gets into with his fans when I praise him. It really is still the case, although I think it's lessening now, but it still somewhat is the case that if I really want to target a liberal and make his day excruciatingly painful, all I have to do is praise him. Say I agree with something he said, she said, or wrote, and they're going to get grief from their fellow journalists for a long period of time. And you can then count on the fact that when that happens, it won't be long before they take the first opportunity to distance themselves from me publicly so as to gain favor with their friends who are in shock that I might find something good about them. We call this the Raspberry effect, by the way, when a journalist previously who disagrees with me later changes his mind after listening to the show. Imagine that actually happens. Well, this column was not written by William Raspberry yesterday. They had his picture in the Daily News, and they said, by William Raspberry, and they had his picture there. It was a good picture. But it wasn't William Raspberry. We know because we were besieged with phone calls. People from all across the fruited plain were calling in, hey, I read that column in my paper, and it was by George Will. That paragraph was written by George Will. And everybody thought that I was an idiot. I'm amazed at some of you people. You should see some of the mail I got on conference. Rush, you committed a major blunder today. And I must tell you, Rush, it's becoming a pattern. Mistakes are becoming more and more frequent on your show, and as a conservative, it bothers me. And then the guy went on to piously explain my error. So I wrote him back and I said, I'm going to make you a columnist god of the EIB Network. Every column, I'm going to call you. I'm going to say, look, did George Will really write this? Its picture is here and his byline is here, but only you know for sure, based on what was in your paper, who wrote it. So what'd you do, HR? You called George Will's office yesterday. He's got a gal that works for him named Dusa Gillensvard. I remembered calling Dusa back in 1986. Dusa Gillensvard, yeah, she's from Sweden or something, yeah. No, she's just nice as she can be. Competent, talented, very nice. And so you talked to her and, yep, read 2 sentences of the column and said, yep, that's it. So we were, well, I don't know how did Raspberry feel about the column. Well, I don't know. That's be an interesting thing. He had to hear about this. And I looked at the Daily News today. It was a Daily News blunder. So I looked at the Daily News today, and you ought to see their correction. It's little italicized type in the lower right-hand corner of like the second or third op-ed page. Yesterday, it's kind of like saying, the equivalent correction on this show. And sorry if you missed it, that's it. We got to take a quick break. What did Raspberry think of the comment? We'll be back in just a moment.
You're listening to the EIB Network.
The vocabulary of the average person stops growing by age 25. Your vocabulary is limited. Your potential for success is too. Hi, this is Rush Limbaugh. Verbal Advantage, Achievement Dynamics' powerful audio cassette program gives you the words you need to succeed. Just by listening, you'll learn word meanings, pronunciation, and usage, plus essential power words to give you confidence in any situation. To learn more, call now, 1-800-28-TAPES. That's 800-28-TAPES.
The Sun.
My wife and I went to see a marriage counselor, and he told us where to go. I'm just a good old working boy, and I don't make much dough. So when I want to get my money's worth, I know just where to go. Yeah, I know just where to go. And he was right. Sandpiper Seafood had the answer to all my wife's cooking. They served us the best food we ever had. Now me and my wife get along real fine, except that she can't keep her hands off of me. She's always pawing me like a lovesick pup. Sweetheart, will you stop that for just a second? Yeah, Sandpiper Seafood did the trick. Got my marriage back in order, and the food we had was great, but now my wife, woman, stop it. We're gonna have to censor this commercial. Now, you best listen to this old boy and follow my good advice. They got what you're looking for at a price that's really nice. Yeah, Sandpiper Seafood, halfway between Goldsboro and Kinston on Highway 70 East and LaGrange. It'll save your marriage.
Want to know a secret? There's a place in Goldsboro where you can get extra savings on Buick cars every day. Not just for a limited time, but all the time. At Courtesy Buick in Goldsboro, you can buy a Buick for less. If you want to save money on a new Buick car, go to Courtesy Buick in Goldsboro. If you didn't buy your new Buick from Courtesy Buick in Goldsboro, you probably paid too much. If you live in Wayne County and are looking for a new Buick, you better go to Courtesy Buick in Goldsboro, or you'll probably pay too much. If you don't live in Wayne County, but you can hear my voice, you better go to Courtesy Buick in Goldsboro, because no one sells new Buick cars for less. Courtesy Buick in Goldsboro sells new Buick cars for less. Remember, Courtesy Buick in Goldsboro sells new Buick cars for less. Want to know a secret? Courtesy Buick in Goldsboro sells new Buick cars for less.
Hello there, this is Bruce Williams. I'm a very lucky guy because each weeknight from 7 to 10, about 3 million of my closest friends and I get together. What do? We talk. We talk about our lives, our problems, and maybe a solution along the way. You know, we talk about business and money, but a whole bunch more. Hey, give that Sajak guy a rest. Sure, try me, the Bruce Williams Show. Weeknights from 7 to 10. We do it all here on Goldsboro's very own 1150 WGBR.
This is Rush Limbaugh on the Talk of the Town, 1150 WGBR. One 800-282-2882 is our phone number. Back to them we go, to Worcester, Massachusetts. Hello, Randy.
Hello, Rush. Mega Mass Educating Dittos from Massachusetts.
Thank you, sir.
My comment was in regards to the last gentleman that called, and if he thinks that consumer confidence has no prediction on how your business is going to be and that your service and your product can just sell it, well, he's got another thing coming, because we've made all our money during the 80s where it was fairly good for us, and we talk to all our customers, and they say that instead of buying, those extra 2 or 3 pair of items.
That's right. I know what you're going to say. They think their taxes are going up. Their taxes are going up. They don't know how much, and they're going to hold on to their money, which they're doing. And then they hear these guys go on TV and say, not only are your taxes going up, they're going to go up back to January 1st. You're going to owe even more. And they say it with a smile on their face. And same thing, business. Their taxes are going up, their corporate rates going up, and the cost of doing business going up in terms of what it's going to cost them to employ people. So they're sitting around waiting.
Yep.
And it's causing economic slowdowns to take place.
Yep. You said it months back. You said, as soon as people hear the word tax, what do? They hold on to their money.
Right.
And it was so true.
But you know what's even more alarming to me about this than, because, this stuff has been known, that what we got to do is combat this. What we have to do is overcome this. What we have to do is have people who, because there are entrepreneurs out there who will not allow, they're just not going to sit there and be skewered by an administration that's on the punitive warpath.
Right.
Now, This guy who called, a guy from Chicago, I'm sure a great American, I'm sure a great patriot, and has probably supported a war or two in his life. He's sitting out there. Look at the way he looks. That little dig there. Look at the way he looks at what companies' purposes are. Going to provide health care and benefits for their workers. Workers, I hate that term. Workers, that's what they call employees in the Communist Party's apparatus. I prefer associates. I prefer employees or associates. Workers. Yeah. Cut it. Not workers. I hate the term. If I say workers, buzz me. I'm going to come up with something. I'm going to give myself a whole list of buzzwords. It's called on-the-air retraining of speak. But here's the situation. You have so many people who think that a company is nothing but an enforced social program. It's there to employ associates. Boy, that's quick. I have undergone massive behavioral training, retraining here in just 5 seconds. And I think there's more people than we'd care to admit there are more people out there with that attitude about life. That, hey, I'm owed something. Did you hear you say the word deserved? That's what people come to me and say, boy, Rush, you deserve all that's happening. I don't deserve anything. I've earned it, but I don't deserve beans. Mm-hmm. I hate the word deserve. Mm-hmm. I do. I really do. I don't like... Deserve means it still implies somebody's got to give you something. When you deserve it, I prefer earn it.
You earn it.
It's a fine line. Mr. Snerdley is frowning it. Do you understand what I mean, Randy, with this fine line distinction here between deserve and earn?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Put it in layman's terms, though.
What? Well, go ahead.
Well, I think I understand what you're saying.
About deserve and earn?
Deserve and earn.
It's an attitudinal thing. When a guy sits around and thinks, hey, I deserve benefits. Why? Why do you deserve it? What have you done? Well, I should have because I work hard. What do you mean you work hard? Well, they should pay it. How am I going to pay for it? Somebody pay for it. Why? Why should somebody else pay for something you want? Well, because... Now, if they are responsible for the price being out of your range, then you may have something to talk about. But if somebody is responsible for providing you health care, why not food? You need food before you can get sick. And why not a car? Doesn't everybody deserve a car? When you can't work without one generally, don't you deserve a car? Why? Because you're a good American? Because you're a good person? Because you've believed in a couple of wars? You gotta earn it. It's a different thing. We'll be back in a moment.
You're listening to the EIB Network.
This is William Bennett. I've often said that what we hold dear, what we believe, has far too few defenders in our public life. This is especially true of America's media. But World Magazine, a weekly news magazine from an evangelical Christian perspective, is such a defender of what matters. World ties up-to-date issues of public life to the biblical principles which ought to inform them. I hope you'll read World. It will open your eyes.
Now, for a limited time, you can get a trial issue of World free. No risk, no obligation. It's the only weekly news magazine from a Christian perspective. Politics, culture, national and international news, all in a timely, colorful package with a viewpoint you won't find anywhere else. Call for your free trial issue of World, 1-800-372-9500. Or get a year's subscription and you'll receive a free copy of Bill Bennett's new book, The Devaluing of America. Call 1-800-372-9500. World Magazine, 1-800-372-9500.
There's only one dealer that has the car you want at the price you want. Leith, Chrysler, Plymouth, Dodge, Isuzu, and Goldsboro will sell you the car you want at a price you won't find anywhere. Leith has just been awarded the Jeep Eagle dealership for the greater Goldsboro area, and Jeeps and Eagles will be arriving daily. Therefore, all Chrysler, Plymouth, Dodge, and Isuzu vehicles will be sold just to make room for the new ones to arrive. Leith and Goldsboro has over 400 cars, trucks, and vans to choose from in their inventory, which means you get the car you want and the price prices? Well, how about these examples? A brand new 93 Isuzu truck, only $79.95. Or a brand new Plymouth Sundance for only $88.95. Dodge Intrepid loaded with extras, $16,995. A brand new Dodge Caravan or Plymouth Voyager, only $14,795. So now that you know that Leith of Goldsboro is the only dealership that has the car you want at the price you want, it's time to see it for yourself. Price includes all rebates and incentives, tax tag and dealer doc fee or extra. Leith Chrysler Plymouth Dodge Isuzu. And coming soon, Jeep Eagle, Highway 70 West, Goldsboro.
Welcome back to Eye on Design with that designing woman. Hey, who are you?
Martha Jones, your designing woman.
Look, we need prestige, pizzazz, we need news.
Well, We're Dated 2 is big news.
How come?
Because We're Dated 2 is too thick, too colorful, and makes a promise too good to be true.
Like what?
If you change that's the 30-day no questions asked replacement warranty.
That's the way to say it.
Say what?
We're Dated 2. If we're not standing behind it, you shouldn't be standing on it.
Right now, Ball Britton & Company is having a big sale with Aladdin, featuring the new Wear Dated 2 Advanced Fiber System Carpet Caesar. Caesar by Aladdin is only $11.45 a square yard. Caesar is as durable as it is beautiful. Let us floor you at All Britton & Company, Greenville, Kinston, Goldsboro, and Hookerton. Come by or call toll-free 1-800-ALL-BRIT-1.
You're listening to The Rush Limbaugh Show on 1150 WGBR.